Diego, nice to see you again.
Mark, nice to see you. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you having some time from your busy schedule and coming and talking to us. So, yeah, I think we're just gonna get on with a few bits and pieces questions and see what we are able to explain to everybody watching this. What are the things that we've been doing together? So,
Yes,
tell me a little bit about yourself, your age, and what do you do for a living?
I'm 51 now, unbelievably, and I pretty much sit down all day. I work in the software industry and as a creative. So I sort of design a lot of web pages and videos and all sorts of stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Not super active, but
And you've been in this line of work for many years now?
it feels like it. Yes. Yes, it's about, I think it's since I left school, really. So, what,
Wow.
30 something, 32 years? Ugh.
Right. Okay. Good. So, okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. So, why did you choose Health Quarters to work on this program with you?
I've tried a lot of times to do, a few things and get out of my desk and all that sort of stuff, but always kind of struggled a little bit with, big commitments or feeling like I'm not going to be able to do it. So you guys have that 90-day program, and I thought, well, I can commit to 90 days. Let's give that a go. You had really good reviews about it. And yeah, I guess that was sort of the main thing. It seemed like it was a fairly, low risk option. I'd been sitting down for such a long time. I thought, well, give it a go.
Good. Okay. Well, that sounds very common in the sense of, well, first, thanks for your trust, and secondly, sounds like a very common reason why people come to us. Like the 90 days seems appealing in the sense of, it's what we call, the SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, in realistic and time frame. And in a way, why we didn't invent that, we like to be able to provide some sort of structure where that can happen, and after those 90 days you can see great results. And by no means we're claiming that it's like everything will be solved in there, but it certainly is a big step into the right direction of taking control and learning things along the way, right? So what would you say, what would be the main obstacles you face before, I guess, to get started?
I guess mostly it was in my head. Looking back of it, it's easy to sit down and do nothing and worry about the fact that if you do something, what if you fail? So you just constantly, well, for me at least, I was always sort of making excuses. That was the main obstacle, and I was quite busy all the time. I actually had a friend of mine who sat me down one time, and he just drew me this little diagram of like all the hours in the day, and that was really helpful. Just said like, well, these are all the parts where you're asleep, and these are all the parts where you're, and it actually works out you got quite a lot of time left. They break it down. So I was like, oh,
Well, we
yeah.
did say, and I think I did tell you this, we have 168 hours a week. Just give us 5.
Yeah, it's actually not so hard in that grand scheme of things to find 5 hours.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's also, thanks for sharing. But yeah, I think that the delusion that we don't have the time and the mindset of staying and doing the things where we normally been doing we are afraid of change in a way, even if change is a positive thing that we want and desire, but it's just how the mind works, right? Okay. So moving into the program itself, what do you think were the results you achieved in those 90 days, and what impact it had in your life, like in specific things in your body, like pains and changes on your physical appearance as well?
Yeah, well, I've just been working in this sort of field for a long time and getting older. Yeah, and I certainly noticed a few aches and pains, and just seem to be getting worse. Back is a bit sore, that sort of lower back, sort of middle to back area was a bit uncomfortable and really tight. That was another one of the reasons why, I decided I really needed to do something about it. After working with you guys, it's definitely, quite a lot more flexibility, which is really nice, and that it's a lot better. The pain is definitely subsiding. In terms of like overall wellness, I just feel like I've got a lot more energy. Physically, the scales say that I've lost a little bit of weight, and I certainly feel stronger. So, it's all really, everything's sort of pointing in the right direction now, which has just been super beneficial.
Yeah. And like you said, like more energy and some physiological changes within your body, losing a little bit of fat content and increasing muscle mass, and those changes in nutrition and the mindset. So we always talk about, what we call the 4 pillars of health, which is the base of our program, right? With exercise, nutrition, mindset, and recovery. And that's something that we have different modules within the program that we focus on. That it's not just here you go, list of exercises for you to do, go and do them, or just like a diet plan. It's all more individualized, depending. That's why we do have very thorough conversations in the beginning, so we can tailor make the program specifically for your needs, right? And that's what we love doing, working individually with everybody. That's why we do it, because we enjoy it.
Yeah, and actually that's something that has been really beneficial, just sort of having those sort of one-to-one interactions, and you kind of feel like, oh, you're supported the whole way through. It's not just some sort of faceless thing, or you're not just turning up at some random gym somewhere or trying to figure some stuff out from something that you've watched on YouTube. It's like being able to come and talk to you or Sebastian or whoever has just made a huge difference, and especially with the motivation and tracking progress, it's just been gold.
Amazing. Thank you for that. The feedback means a lot to us. And how was the process then like for you? I think you've been saying a little bit about that, about being able to communicate with us on a day-to-day basis, and how user friendly would you say this?
Yeah, it's actually, it's not hard. We all sort of, you largely app-based, which is really good. So you can just keep in contact via that or via WhatsApp. So that's made it really easy. You've always got your phone handy, and one of those things too, you can always sort of glance at, and you can get an idea for sort of how you're tracking for the day. And it's easy. You don't need to try and keep things in your head or schedule a phone call or wander off somewhere to meet some random people. It's the process itself has been.
Yeah, simplicity is key, I guess, in order for us to ensure people stick to it. And accountability is the regularity and accountability, is the two key pillars in order to ensure people turning up in the morning and at home doing their own thing, and following the advice. And we can see actually what they're doing, through the app. You can tick, so that it's we try to make it as simple as possible,
Yeah, it's quite nice how you can sort of incorporate, from the technical side, at least the sort of activity monitoring that your phone does anyway, like you're walking and the steps and all that, and it just sort of automatically feeds through, so you can kind of do some sort of measuring without having to write stuff down, and that sort of stuff just makes it nice and simple.
So if you can put like headline of the main benefits you receive from this program in these 90 days, what would you say it was? Like, you did talk a little bit about more energy and losing a little bit of weight, but how specific can you be about it, for example?
Isn't specifically as in terms of what I lost, or is that what you mean?
What you lost and what you gained, yeah.
I think probably that for me, there's been definitely a lot of physical benefits, no question about that. But really, it's a lot of it is the mental side. Like I know that I'm in a job where I'm sitting down all the time, right? So being able to know that I can get up, being able to know that I've got some exercises that I can do, that they're the right sort of ones to help me get to my goals. It's certainly just given me a lot more confidence, I guess is the word, or just taken away a lot of those doubts and those fears about not being able to do it or having to make an enormous commitment to something else. It's just these small incremental changes, and the monitoring, you can just sort of keep on track. And could I wrap that up in a headline? I don't know.
That's all right. You don't have to. I think it's clear enough, and thank you for that. What would you say to someone that's sitting on the fence to come and join the program?
Sitting on the fence. Well, man, I've been sitting on that fence for a long, long time. At some point, I guess, the pain of doing nothing just becomes too great. Your back gets really sore, and at some point you have to make a change. So I just wouldn't wait. Why would you wait until you're completely debilitated? It's a mental shift to take some positive steps for yourself. And I think maybe often we don't think that we're worthy of doing that. We've got other things that are more important, and that somehow the body will still be there the next day. But as you get to this age, it starts to degrade, right? If you don't look after it, you can't perform. And if you're sitting on the fence, I would say just back yourself and jump in. It's a 90-day thing. It's not a massive commitment. It's doable, and you've got good people to help you through it. So the benefits that you get will well outweigh the 90 days in the future. So
yeah, it's funny what you said, just reminded me, like, a lot of people wait for motivation to come before, but action precedes motivation. You need to create an action for yourself, and then when you start to build momentum and feel good and better about yourself, that's when you get more motivated. Motivation on its own, it's hard to channel.
Yeah, definitely is.
Amazing. It's great, Mark. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful to talk to you as always. And thank you for your time. Appreciate you. Love your work and your commitment and all the amazing results you're getting. So let's keep it going.
Cool. Thanks, Diego. Nice to chat.
See you soon.
Cool. See you, mate.
Bye.